Well, hello you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Idrath Core Irolsazir. Northbridge, of course. Right now, it's the 28th of Felsight, late spring of the year 112, which, if I recall correctly, is at the start of our 5th year. Things are going very well here in the fortress. Realizing we haven't touched on the population or our happiness in specifics for a little bit. Right now, we're at 148 dwarves. Really pretty amazing. Even more amazing, though, is look at the dwarven happiness over here. These are some pretty happy dwarves. We have really managed to turn things around for them. And you know, I think more than anything, it's due to us taking a little bit of downtime recently. We've been getting kind of finicky making these bedrooms for the dwarves, and that being the case, it hasn't really required all hands on deck for a little bit. Dwarves can just relax, hang out in our meeting hall, go to the temple, partake in some worship. Things are starting to really get stable these days. It's working out really well. Anywho, as I was saying, we are in late spring right now, and the elves have arrived and left already. We've concluded our trade and our talks. And, well, regarding that, those ratty-ass bastards have limited our trees once again, and this time they're pushing it even farther. They claim to be able to part with at most 34 trees this year, which, okay. I will admit that last year ended up being a little bit more restrictive than I thought it was going to be. I forget how many they let us have. It was 50 something, but we weren't really keeping track, and apparently it wasn't a problem because they didn't yell at us even more. But we need a lot of wood here in the fortress for coal, metal production, you know? Glass production, too. We want a lot of glass, remember? We did agree to only take 34 trees at most. And again, we haven't really been paying that close of attention to how many we've been cutting down, but we're being semi-careful at least. We're gonna try to play ball for as long as we can, at least, for the sake of trade. And on that subject, admittedly, this year we didn't get all too much from the elves, but we did get one interesting item down here, in with our elephants, who you can see have been moved to a different section of cavern so they don't starve to death. I don't know what we're gonna do with these guys, by the way. Got kind of a rotating pasture system going on at the moment. Anywho, yes, you may have noticed right here, we received from the elves a giant hippo. Quite a large creature indeed. Look at this thing. My goodness gracious. A giant hippo is a huge hippo-shaped monster. It's not a hippo, it's not just like a large hippo. Though yes, it does bear quite a number of the same traits. It's a huge, round, hairless river creature, a plant-eating animal, but also has long tusks and can be aggressive and deadly if disturbed. I would have to imagine it could be quite deadly, actually. A full-grown male giant hippo like this one here is more than twice the size of an adult elephant. Huge animal. Gigantic. Though unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to train it for war or anything. They're not quite as smart as elephants are, but that's okay. We're going to keep the thing around. It's going to be the big bull of the pasture here. It's okay too, because the thing doesn't graze quite like elephants do either. I don't know what it eats, but it manages somehow. Oh boy. Just when I thought we'd be able to get back down to work, sounds like we have something going on up on the surface. Oh, well now that's interesting. A vile force of darkness has arrived, but it appears they're seeking a parley. Very interesting. Okay. I don't know why these bastards would want to parley with us. They should just leave us alone. They're not charging in like that last little siege that showed up. They're just kind of standing here. Well, let's see what they want exactly. Yeah, it looks like the Circular Terror, their nation, wants to parley with us in order to avert a loss of life. Well, again, that sounds excellent. I would love this. But they don't have to come here to even, get us to do that. We're not going to attack them. We haven't attacked them. Fools. But, I mean, sure, yeah, we'll approve. We approve your petition. For mercy, I suppose. Stupid goblins. Okay, so we've made our parley. Can you guys just go away? I mean, I can't help but note that they've come armed for war. They're all wearing armor and wielding weapons. They're just terrible negotiators, I think. Gotta think about the optics here, goblins. It looks pretty bad. You've attacked us a couple times in the past, and then you show up with your warriors all geared up like this. It's foolish. And to be frank, I don't trust them for a second. We'll get our warriors stationed up nearby just to make sure they don't cause any trouble. Though I dare say this force looks a little bit more formidable than that last one, with the bowmen and crossbowmen. Still, I think our dwarves can handle them. Yeah, not too sure what's going on here. You can see the goblins' forces over this way here, and I realize I keep saying goblins, but there are a lot of humans here. If it was all humans, I'd still call them goblins, just because that's what their people are. They come from the goblin nation, the circular terror. And I dearly wish they would return there. It's actually pretty tense out here. I've never seen a standoff like this before. I realize they're trying to parley with us in a strange attempt to make peace, but again, I really wish they would just leave. I don't really know what the holdup is here, and I'm afraid to see what would happen if these two groups got too close to one another. We don't want any trouble, but I don't want the goblin soldiers to get very close to our fortress either, so that's why we have our warriors stationed here. Maybe they'll leave eventually. Just got to give it some time. Hold up, actually. This is interesting. A dwarf we haven't really met before, but she's been around. Bombwreck. She's our mayor. Looks like she's heading over to the goblins in order to attend a parley. Okay. Nerve-wracking. Luck to you, Bombwreck. My goodness, there she goes. Right on up to those spooky bastards. It looks like she's doing her dealing from behind a tree here. I guess I couldn't blame her. Anywho, let's see what's next here. Okay. The goblins are here to take one of our artifacts that they are apparently laying claim to. They just want the thing, I suppose. I don't know how they even know it's here. We just made this thing last winter. Rather, I should say, Erel made the thing last winter. The dwarven child. It is a heck of a mug, that's for sure. Ustir Kasith Nesixiril by Chuminous Cole. Well, in the name of pragmatism, I think we will part with this thing. Not that we want to, of course, but in order to avert loss of life, maybe, if we give them this mug, they'll leave us alone for a while. Really, when you get down to it, it is a mug. I know it's a dwarven artifact, and I know it would be disrespectful to just say it's just a mug in front of Erel the child, but he did gift it to our fortress, so we're free to do with it as we see fit. And on top of that, if giving those rat bastards this mug here can prevent the loss of one dwarven life, then this dwarf, Erel, is a hero. On top of that, maybe we'll give him a nice bedroom, huh? He's already been sleeping in one of the bridge bedrooms just for the hell of it, even though it's not his. Yeah, we'll make it up to the guy. I don't like it, but again, if this works, we could save lives. Bombwreck has returned to the fortress and, well, it seems she's not in any big hurry to get that mug, making the goblins wait. I like it. She's having herself a meal first. Excellent. Make those bastards wait a bit. It's raining outside right now, actually. I hope they like it. But yes, here she goes. She's done eating, she's grabbed the mug, and she's heading back out to the goblins. I just hope this trade-off goes well. Yep, and here she goes back out to the goblins who are waiting in the rain. Now you monsters be careful with this thing, huh? It's the least you could do, I would think. Treat it with the respect it deserves. Only drink from it the finest of alcohols, please, and they're leaving. They don't care. Yeah, to hell with you. Okay, well, I mean, there you have it. They left. We prevented this siege, at least. And yes, I am hoping they don't come back anytime soon. Time will tell on that. But I'm going to tell you right now, if they come back and try to cause trouble with us, oh boy, are they going to get it. Those goblins don't even know what war is. Anywho, moving on to other matters now. Actually, a bit of good news. While that was all going down and we were parting with one of our artifacts, another dwarf in our fortress was busy creating his own artifact. Vabok Mafalbisal, one of our Saltbridge spear dwarves, has created Borikumam, a bauxite crown, and he offers it to us, the wealthy order. Fantastic. Let's have a look at it. Well, its name translates to trench sword, and it's worth 23,000, which is impressive. This is a bauxite crown. All craftsdwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with point-cut vericites, studded with gold, decorated with cave spider silk, and encircled with bands of gold. Oh my. This object is adorned with hanging rings of gold and menaces with spikes of bauxite and reindeer leather. On the item is an image of octahedral octahedra in vericite. Very interesting. All those gold touches there, that would account for the price of it. Yes, this is a very nice piece indeed. Thank you very much, my friend. And actually something a little interesting about this particular dwarf right here. I mentioned he's one of our Saltbridge spear dwarves, and he partook in a couple of those cavern battles. And during the last one, I believe, he suffered an injury to his lung. And ever since then, he's been walking around kind of coughing and wheezing. He finds it a bit hard to breathe ever since. Not too sure what happened. We were actually a bit concerned about him at first, but he seems to be pulling through. And that being said, like any proper dwarf, along with this tragedy comes a nickname. And the dwarves have been calling him Croaks. Though I'm not sure how much he appreciates it, frankly. He's not the happiest dwarf. Or rather, I should say, he wasn't the happiest dwarf, but, we recently gave him his own bedroom, and, maybe that's why he made this artifact here. He made it almost exactly right after we gave him a bedroom. And that being said, his mood seems to be turning right around with it. Very good to see. Hang in there, Croaks. You're doing great. And while we're talking about nicknamed dwarves, how about we revisit little Aral over here, the one whose mug we just gave away. It's certainly a memorable event, and in fact, some of the dwarves have already taken to calling him Mug. I suppose a name like that's bound to stick, right? And you know what else? We've already given him a very well-appointed bedroom over here on the bridge, just because he's a hero and all. But I'm thinking we could do even better. That crown we just made, I think for now we'll store it on a pedestal in Mug's bedroom. And I'm sure Croaks doesn't mind it at all. Yes, we gotta pull together in times like this, dwarves. Really boost each other up, It's a good decision, for sure. And at least it's not being given to the stinking goblins. Enjoy it, Mug. You deserve it. Moving on now. We are approaching the end of summer, and a while ago the humans arrived to trade our staunch allies, the humans of the Empire of Dales. Always a treat to deal with them. They arrived and got set up, and we moved a bunch of our rockbone crafts over to the depot. We have an awful lot of those things. And we made a heck of a trade. We've actually already wrapped it up at this point. And in turn for a whole load of rockbone crafts, we managed to pick up some food, some good quality food this time, I should say, as well as a lot of cloth. We have to start producing a lot of clothing here in the fortress. Some of the stuff the dwarves are wearing is getting pretty, betattered these days. And we also managed to pick up from the humans a few frivolities, including some nice instruments, and of course a couple more elephants, female elephants, just so we can breed some more of those things. We're going to be up past our beards in elephants soon enough, and I still don't really know what we're going to do with them all, but I'm sure it'll work out fine. Anyways, a straightforward trade this time, really. They came, we traded, they departed. Off the eastern side of the bridge, too, which I find strange. That's the way they've been departing. We're the last dwarven settlement this far north. I mean, they could be going to Northbridge, I suppose, if they want to travel over the ice flows, but well, I guess they could be heading over to the western human kingdoms as well. Of course, that has a long roundabout passage. Well, regardless of where they're going, we wish you the best of luck, humans. Eager to see you next year. Good people, those humans. Not like those bastard elves or those double bastard goblins. You know what? Actually, let's touch on that briefly. Just happen to be going down this list of local civilizations, and we have the Lancer of Oiling, of course, as well as Lymarlodhal, the Wealthy Order, that's us. And then we have Strox and Gooselu, the Circular Terror, the goblins. We're at war with them as per usual. No surprise there. And then there's Shrillifriller, that's the wonderful crag children that keep visiting us. We're at peace with them, of course. Even the unnamed amphibian man civilization has popped up, even though we're not too sure of their motives or their leaders or even where they are located below ground. It says we're at peace with them, but I beg to differ on that front. Regardless, we're at peace with the humans. Durnid, the Empire of Dales. But then just scrolling down, I see the elves. Bibawegika, the Tame Canyon. Those are the ones we deal with. We're marked as being at war with the elves. No one told us. That's what we get, bending over backwards trying to appease them by not cutting down trees on our land. Seems ridiculous, doesn't it? But here we are, that's exactly what we get. I mean, I should say, at this point, we've had no directly hostile confrontations with the elves, and so we'll just kind of leave it be. Man, look at us giving people the benefit of the doubt. They don't deserve it, I'm sure. But we will wait and see. If they want to start trouble with us, then trouble there will be. Of course, for Idrath's sake, I'd prefer that to not be the case. Keep those spears sharp, dwarves. You never know what could be waiting for us out there. Actually, on that note, let's have a little look below ground for a moment, where I'm realizing we haven't looked all that much, like ever. Now, okay, it's a lot to take in, but just bear with me here. Over here in the west, you know this place, it's our metalsmithing wing. We have our giant cave toads over there, the giant mandrill, the jaguar. Down over here next to it, we have the elephant pen. It's not connected to the fortress proper right now. There's actually a wall between it and the metalsmithing area. And that's because the elephant pen here is connected up to the actual caverns. And our fear is that the amphibian men will come in through the metalsmithing wing if they're able to, That's why we don't have it connected just yet. Now, if you have a look over here, right here, there's a little tunnel that we're digging out right now. This is going to connect up the area beneath our fortress to the elephant pen right here. just to make it easier. Otherwise, dwarves have to go all the way around if they want to deal with the elephants. And that can be pretty dangerous too, because out here is where those amphibian men usually pop up. And well, if you have a look out here, you can see 3 entrances that lead out to the caverns. And at this point, we've built up walls trying to protect the areas, you know? Not that they're doing very much. We don't have like gates or doors or traps or anything, but we're working on it. That's what I want to show off mostly. Over here in the east, we have a wall set up, as well as a little corridor. I'll explain more about that in a second. And we have the same thing going on up here in the north. And then over here to the west, this is where the amphibian men usually come from, so that's where we built a wall first. After all 3 of these entrances are secure with walls and traps, then we can feel a little bit more safe out here, I think. It's getting there. Gonna take a little bit still, and we are going to need a hellish amount of traps if we want to be actually safe here. Oh, and actually, while we're down here, something else to show off. Well, we'll go through all of our animals real quick. First off, we have the giant cave toads. They're still not breeding, that's fine. They're still cool animals to have around. But in their pen, we've put a bunch of ducks just because it's so wet, and we figured, what the hell? We could use the eggs and the meat down the line. Still need some more of them. What we don't need more of, however, is turkeys. You can see down here in the giant mandrill and jaguar pen, we put a bunch of turkeys. They seem to be doing really well in here. They're like scrounging up oysters. You can see there's just piles of oysters around. Apparently the turkeys are interested in oysters. Color me surprised. But yes, we have a whole bunch of them now. It's a nice little passive way to get food, not hurting anything. That's the efficiency we like around here. But yes, the main attraction over here, the elephant pen, the elephant and giant hippo pen, where we also have a few other types of animals too. We have some pigs, goats, a bunch of grazing animals. You can see this whole area though, actually, now that I'm looking, it looks like there's nothing to graze on here at all anymore. Arid, rocky, these animals do quite a amount of damage to whatever area we put them in. But that is probably gonna be okay, probably. Because we built this tunnel over here, leads off of our metalsmithing wing, up to this stairway here, which goes up. Let's zoom out. And there you can see it right there. It's a large, spacious, underground cavity that our grazing animals can come in and just start grazing away. Do I have confidence that it won't turn into a big sandy, rocky mess in very short order? No, I don't. But it's better than nothing. It'll make for a nice, big, temporary pasture at least. I guess we'll start getting them moved in right away. Now, back out to the caves. Just looking out in this courtyard here, realizing how quiet the caves seem. They've been quiet for some time too. I mean, beyond the amphibian people. We've hardly had any creatures wander through. Like at the beginning we had those giant cave toads and the troglodytes and stuff, but beyond that, not a whole heck of a lot. Again, besides the amphibian people. That being said, there is something going on out there. The caverns stir, for sure. However, what's going on out there exactly is still unknown to us. Just have to remain on our toes, dwarves. Keep working on these walls, and maybe it's time to start thinking about increasing the size of our military. What do you say? At this point, we do have way more than enough dwarves to do it. It's just a matter of... Oh, hold up now. Speaking of those damn frog people, there's been a sighting. Chasing down one of our miners, and... easily being dispatched. No problem whatsoever. Good job, dwarves. That being said, where there's one, there's often more. Let's get our dwarves moving. Up towards the north gate, where we can see another attack is already in progress, well underway. Tons of amphibian people. And right at the moment, we only have, what, 5, 6 dwarves moving in? We have a wounded dwarf. Okay, but we have more moving in. They're all just kind of... They're doing a good job erasing these frogs, corking up the end of the north passage here. A wall of dwarven muscle and iron. And spears, of course. Oh, they're just mutilating those frogs. They don't stand a chance. Thank Idrath for skilled warriors. Again, we really have to think about our military. Pump it up a little bit. It looks like we survived the fight here. Didn't have any lives lost. That was a blisteringly fast attack. And believe it or not, I think that was more amphibian people than either of the last 2 sieges. Yeah, let's have a closer look here, now that it's over. Going down the list here of dead amphibian people, and yes, in fact, we did kill quite a few more than last time. There were 50 amphibian people in this raid, and they were all killed. Fairly impressive, seeing as how our entire squad wasn't there. Double impressive when you consider the fact that we have had no dwarves die so far, and I don't think we will either. That being said, we have to get these traps up quickly. Maybe some quick, sloppy ones. Stonefall traps or something. If their numbers keep rising like this, then we're going to be in some serious trouble in just a couple years. Imagine an amphibian person raid of 100 or more. I really hope that is never the case. But again, if we get those traps up, then we won't have to worry so much. As for our wounded during that raid, we have Odam here. It seems she's lost the ability to stand and will now need to use a crutch to get around. And while she can still fight, I figure we'll make her one of our honor wounded. We're going to retire her from the military, like we did with her husband during the first amphibian raid, I believe. Dodak, one of our honor wounded, and our fortress manager too. They have a room up on the bridge, and now they get to enjoy it fully, I suppose. Couple real heroes, those two. And I think Odam here is going to be just fine after Basmar gets to her. And after she gets a crutch, of course. You know, I'm thinking we should do something special for these two. How about a nice statue? A platinum statue, just because it's valuable. And we're going to make a statue of Dodak and Odam, as well as a spear. And how about 2 spears and 2 shields? And how about we'll add in a couple of amphibian people too. And we'll make it so that Dodak is massacring one of the amphibian people. And Odam is raising a spear, on which the other amphibian man is impaled. And one of the amphibian people is mutilated, and the other is screaming. Perfect. And as for a name, the subtlety of treaties. The ace subtlety of treaties. No. The heroic couple of treaties. Not quite. The heroic north couple of treaties. It's hard to find appropriate words sometimes. How about the heroic couple of bridges? Wonderful. There we go. Cool. And now we just have to wait for Bomrek, our mayor, to come down and make the thing. She's actually the one who's in charge of making most of the metal furniture we see around the place. We'll just give her a moment here. And there we go. Done deal. Thank you, Bomrek. And now we just gotta lug the thing up to their room, move this goat statue over to the side, and wonderful, there it is. Enjoy it, you two. It's a fine piece, and very well deserved, too. Actually, you know what? I was just thinking, our manager, Dodak here, doesn't have his own office yet. He's been using his bedroom as an office, but that's not gonna quite cut it, I don't think. I mean, it does get the job done, but our manager needs more than that, I think. And as such, I'd like to direct you to our tower. I had alluded to some changes earlier, but I never really got around to showing them off. Okay, here we see the bottom of our tower. Dwarves moving through, busy. Going up, we have our trade depot. Up from there, our meeting hall. Up from there is our kitchen area, food stockpiles. Up again, we have our temple, our general temple area, that is. And then if we move up again, you can see another area, right? We have 2 chambers here. And this here is going to be for different religious denominations. We have the Order of Silver is in our fortress right now, and they do have a tiny place to worship down in the mines. It's really nothing fantastic, but this is going to be much better for them. We're just, we have to get some more furniture in place here. You can see we actually do have some windows in place right now. It's all set, actually. Yeah, we're going to put religious denominations in here, as well as possibly guild halls for now, until we have a more centralized area for production. And we have enough space, too, because, well, we have these 2 chambers right here. And if we move up, we have 2 more chambers above. Those are all set with windows as well. So yes, plenty of space. In fact, if you move up again, we have another level. 2 more rooms. All those windows are in place too. And so yes, we have 6 large chambers in here designed to be for religious denominations or temporary guild halls. But you may also notice a stairway down here. This one leads up farther. And up above this temple, we have a nice large pair of living areas. One on the left and one on the right. Now this here is where I was thinking of housing our manager and his wife Odam. These are for the fortress nobles, Our manager should have a nice quarters. Chief medical dwarf should have a nice quarters. Militia commander. Our Duke, Vabak. Granted, that's 4 positions right there. And this is only 2 rooms. But just kidding, if we move up, we have 2 more quarters up here. And each area has 3 rooms in it for a bedroom, an office, and a dining room. They still have to be all furnished out, but you can see all the windows are in place, which is pretty remarkable because that's an awful lot of gems. And yeah, so the tower is coming right along. And in fact, if you look up farther, we're starting in on another level up here. And actually, this one here would be for our Duke, I think, Vabak. This area here is going to be for one big living suite. This will be a home for a single dwarf and their spouse/children, possibly. And if we move up 1 more level right here, this is going to be another area for a single family or dwarf, possibly. So yeah, we're creeping upwards here. Plenty of space for all of our dwarves so far. Just have to get these things nicened up. And we have to get the dwarves moved in too, of course. We're getting there. It's taking a lot of work, and it's taking a toll on the dwarves too. We're kind of dipping back into unhappy territory these days, but it's going to be fine. We have to get the work done. And hell, we're going to take another break before long, too, so no worries there. Keep up the good work, dwarves. we are making some incredible progress. Now then, actually, we've just made a new artifact in the fortress, so we should have a look at that, shouldn't we? Dumat Zathudendak, the butcher, has created Curlatur, a conglomerate metin. She offers it to us, the wealthy order. Wonderful. Let's have a closer look. Curlatur. Its name translates to eye covers, and it's worth a rather shockingly low 3,700. This is a conglomerate metin. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with black bear bone and large rat bone. This object menaces with spikes of black bear leather. On the item is an image of Echo Intense, the pine chair in conglomerate. That's the throne that we had made last year, I believe. Now, if you're wondering what a metin is exactly, it is a mid-sized handheld bone musical instrument above which hangs 37 bone bells. The musician uses a wooden keyboard to select which of these bells are struck. There's quite a bit more detail than just that, but long story short, it's a traditional musical instrument of our people. A bit cumbersome, but it gets the job done. I'm sure this one will make its way into our tavern, and I'm sure before long dwarves will be picking it up and using it, playing all kinds of songs on it. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it might not be worth all that much compared to other artifacts, but how could you put a price on enjoyment? It's going to bring so much happiness to our dwarves, and that's what really matters, doesn't it? Thank you very much for this, my friend. We're going to make sure this gets into our tavern. Why, you treacherous, twig-nibbling, bark-biting, leaf-licking rat-ass bastards. Curse all friends of nature. Some elves have sprung from ambush. Would you have a look at this? We have a whole squad of elves here, armed for war, traveling down the coast, heading to the bridge. Okay, well, that seals it. The elves want war, so war they will get. This is ridiculous. We do have to be careful. Just because, if you look at the elves here, they're not well armed or armored. They have wooden armor and weapons. No match for our gear at all. But they did spring from ambush. And that's usually how elves like to do things. Meaning there could be more of them out there. We'll have to keep our eyes open. We could see already they're shooting. Down here. At this dwarven mother and her baby cradled in her arms. You know, it just gets you upset. Giving them a chance like we did. Trying to make friends. Trying to appease them and their beliefs. But here we go. They've come to Northbridge to kill. And as such, they will pay with their lives. Okay, here we go. The Skewer brother is moving in, and has already killed one of the bastards. Yeah, I told you this was going to be easy. Here come the rest of the dwarves too. We have had them training recently, so they're all nearby. There they go. Not a significant challenge at all. No worse than the frog people, that's for sure. And certainly easier than taking down 50 frog people. But I do worry about what will come in the future. I'm actually pretty devastated that these bastards decide to attack us like this. I suppose it's just that our two people can't see eye to eye. For some damn reason. Again, imagine if we went to their forests and told them not to touch the dirt or something, or the pebbles, leave those rocks alone. We wouldn't do that though. We're not psychopaths. Pfft, good riddance. Well, dwarves, we gotta get this mess cleaned up. And I suppose we don't have to worry about trading with these bastards next spring. Unless they want the corpses of their brethren back. Twig-nibbling bastards. Well, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it's actually probably good news. It's a lot less stress when you get down to it. And plus, what do they really bring anyways? Some big animals, they're cool, but that's pretty much about it. And on the upside, now we can cut down as many trees as we want. And in fact, let's get to clear cutting, dwarves. Got all those resources just growing out there in the forest. It's time to put them to use. If the elves cared about the forest at all, then they wouldn't have attacked us, right? They know we're raring to cut down the forest. And we were playing by their stupid rules, but now that they've attacked us, our leash is off. We're just gonna go crazy cutting down trees now. Warmongering fools. I think this was their goal all along, even if it was terribly misguided. We'll show them. Anyways, dwarves, get those trees down to the forges. We'll get them all seared up nice into charcoal. And then we'll start producing some more weapons of war. And maybe we'll start making some wooden crafts too. Might as well. I'm sure the humans and the dwarves would appreciate them. You know what? I think this is going to work out pretty darn well for us. We should be thanking those forest frolicking weirdos. The future grows brighter still for Idrath and the dwarves of Idrath Core I roll Sazir. Northbridge. And now it's that part of the episode where I start talking about some behind the scenes things. Okay, that was a fun-filled episode. All kinds of stuff going on. Lots of fighting, lots of chaos, and a lot of productivity too, which is great. You know what I really like about the Steam release? Is that it finally feels, to me anyways, like the stress system is where it should be. You know, there's been a lot of unhappy dwarves in the fortress, but you give them some downtime, you give them some nice amenities, and they start recovering, you know? And it's a slow recovery too. They kind of go downhill pretty quickly sometimes. Like typically after the amphibian attacks, a lot of dwarves get kind of unhappy because they got to see the corpses and stuff, you know? Maybe get stuck in clouds of miasma, that sort of stuff there. But then you just give them a little break afterwards, and they actually recover. It's nice. It used to be before when I was playing Dwarf Fortress, if I saw an unhappy dwarf, it usually wouldn't take too long before I could be like, oh, it's probably that guy again, that one unhappy dwarf who's always unhappy. I haven't had that in this fortress. Like there's been a couple of particularly unhappy dwarves, but there's not like that one guy going around who's just unhappy all the time. They kind of like waver, you know, like up and down. Their mood goes up and down depending on what their surroundings or situations are like. It's great. And even when dwarves have been very unhappy, and in the few cases that there have been very, very unhappy dwarves for a very long time, they're not throwing tantrums, which was always a big pain in the butt before. In fact, I don't think I've seen any tantrums so far in this version. If you don't know what a tantrum is in Dwarf Fortress, it's when a dwarf is very mad for a long time, and like they'll just punch somebody at random, pretty much, like, it's not just like one punch either. Sometimes they'll just like jump on someone and start beating the hell out of them, which could easily kill a fellow citizen, which is a problem, And there wasn't a good way to really manage that back in the day. So like if you had a dwarf throwing tantrums in your fortress, if you're just letting them walk around at that point, then like you're kind of asking for it, Because like say I had one of those dwarves in this fortress right here, they might punch somebody and injure them badly, permanently paralyze them, or just outright kill them. And like, if they're walking around in Northbridge, then that could be stack cut, that could be Vabok, thigh cut, a dwarf we care about. You never know, it could happen. And I never liked that very much. There are those out there that disagree with that whole sentiment there, think the game should be hardcore or something. Bless you, but I don't see it. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. I feel like Dwarf Fortress is where it should be right now, as far as the stress system goes. And speaking of real life stress systems, the Steam release cards on the table has been a big pain in my ass to edit since I started doing these episodes back in December. I have not been able to manage a single time to like do an episode quickly. And it's been pretty taxing. I don't know what the difference is exactly. I can't really like put my finger on it. But something about the simplicity of how the graphics were displayed previously made it a lot easier to like hide the rough edges when it comes to like displaying a menu on the screen. Because like, back in the day, a menu would appear with like a gray box around it, like a perfectly straight gray box. So I could like in my editing program just cut out that box and just like overlay it on the screen and just show that. But now it just feels like there's so much information and the text is so small sometimes that what I've been having to do is go and just like do like a print screen, like a screenshot, and then take that text and like blow it up a little bit and then put a text box around it. So like when you're watching the episode and those text boxes are floating around, I have to make those all by hand pretty much, just by copying the screen and then resizing it and then like, copy and pasting a box around it. Which, one or two of those isn't a big pain to do, really. But I think typically in one of these episodes, I've got like, between 55 and 60 of them. And the whole process of like resizing the frame and the text and all that sort of stuff, each one of them probably takes, I'll say 2 minutes, being generous, but maybe up to 5 minutes. Got some simple math there. That takes quite a bit of time, right? Gets a little tedious. I'm only saying all of this because I want to say that this week here, I think I've finally stumbled upon a process that helps me get these episodes done with a small amount of stress. Like that last episode I did was 2 days late. I try to get them out on Thursday, And I can confidently say at this point that this episode's going to be done for this coming Thursday, which I'm very pleased about. Even missing those 2 days, it's pretty great. I know this is like, this is like some serious behind the scenes stuff. Maybe it's not that interesting, but it's very exciting to me. I'm just very happy to come across this process. I mean, like, quick overview of the process. I wake up in the morning, I do my best to record 4 minutes of footage and then fully edit that footage entirely. 100%, get all the audio in place, all the little camera movements, get all the text boxes done. And then when that's all done, I have to do 2 full pages of drawings, and that's that. And as long as I could do all that in 1 day, then it takes, about 10 days to do a full episode. Maybe 9 hours of work a day, like that. And I get 2 weekends. It's almost like a normal person's work schedule right there. That's pretty great. I will say that it worked for this past week right here, and it's the first time I've implemented something like this, so we'll see how that goes. Gonna try my best to keep it up. One of the most dangerous parts is all the planning that goes into Northbridge here. There's a terrific amount of micromanagement. Making all the furniture for like particular dwarf rooms and stuff. This guy over here has gypsum furniture. This guy over here has a conglomerate furniture. This guy has an armor stand because he likes armor stands. This guy's got a statue of a pig in steel, but he also has microclimate furniture for some reason. All the statues too. My goodness, I included that little segment in this episode about making that statue. That custom statue there, just because I wanted to show you like every single statue in this fortress here was made that exact same way. There really are none that are just like a boring old statue of some random crap. They all depict something very particular and all have a custom name too. That takes a lot of doing. Then all the gems in the windows, it's crazy, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. Sometimes I have too much fun with it and I start to zone out, just placing stuff. Take some time out of my schedule. Anyways, I've probably rambled on enough here. My bearded bastards, I thank you truly for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I certainly hope to see you next time here in Idrath Core I Roll Sazir, Northbridge. And until then, you bearded bastards.